Welcome, everyone, to week 4, session 2, our season of love practice. So our mission here is to prepare ourselves for 2025 by deeply practicing love and in learning and in practicing love, learning to be love in the world, learning to be love in the world. And recalling our poem fragment, that is our guide for this practice. In troubled times, it takes great concentration to align ourselves with grace instead of force, with love instead of fear. We begin by allowing ourselves to be loved, along with all the rest of creation. And then we fall into that love and let that love flow through us into the world. And so far, we've talked about how we must allow ourselves to be loved before we can truly love. And we've talked about how we must become like little children, meaning that we have to return to the place where we took love and being loved for granted. We saw it as natural. And what's interesting is that almost none of us can remember being that young. That was usually age 3, 4, somewhere in there. Most of us don't have lots of memories from that time. It's as though when we became ego people, we forgot everything we knew before that. So now we see the world through the eyes of our ego selves, not through the eyes of innocence. And when we were very young children, our channels were completely open to the flow of love, to the receiving and giving of love, as simple and natural as taking a breath and letting it out again. It is the ego structure that developed around age 4, 5, 6, developed pretty strongly. It was developing that whole time. And it is that obstructs the channels of love. And our poem actually tells us exactly, boy, this poem tells a lot of things. It tells us exactly what the very foundation of the ego structure is. I did not learn this from the poem. I learned it elsewhere, and then I see it in the poem. The foundation of the ego structure is fear. And the foundation of the ego structure is force or control. And unlike the force of gravity that we talk about in our practice, in which gravity, the force of gravity is actually sort of a flow, the type of force that we're talking about in this poem, or that the poem refers to, is the word that means to compel, to push, to coerce, to pressure, to bully, that kind of force. We identify that force with people outside of ourselves, but we need to be aware of all the places that we also do this: compel, push, coerce, pressure. Most of us don't want to think of ourselves as being bullies. We do this to ourselves all the time, inwardly, and that's the ego. The ego is built upon a structure of fear and force, or said differently, a structure of a need for safety and a need for control. And that's in order to keep us safe in the world. We try to control our environments. We try to control ourselves in order to keep ourselves safe. We want love and connection. And indeed, of course, we are built for love and connection. And we have all of these parts of ourselves that are designed for that, our heart, our soul, our spirit, even our bodies, built for love and connection. But we end up stuck in this cycle of fear and the need to control our situations. And by extension, our need to attempt to control the world. So many people are afraid of 2025 because of what might go on in the world. Our fear, projecting our fear outward. So our practice that we do attempts to return us to a flow of grace and love. Return us to a flow of grace and love. So the words in the poem are diametrically opposed. So listen to them. Love instead of fear. Grace instead of force. So I'm going to say them again and just feel the words. Don't think about the definitions. Love instead of fear. Grace instead of force. So there are many ways that these words feel different from one another. But one really important one that will affect how we live in our daily lives is the sense of flow that comes with grace and love, and the sense of obstruction, stop, that comes with fear and control. Love and grace flow, fear and force obstruct. They block. They stop. They stop flow. And when fear and control are present, love and grace cannot flow. They can't exist in the same spot. Love may exist, but it's like it's blocked off in a place in our being. So the practice that we do together, the practice that we've been doing together before this season of love ever started, called surrendered presence, is actually a practice of flow. When practicing this flow daily, we learn to align ourselves with that flow. We notice the flowing in our daily lives. And when we practice with flow, it also helps us to more readily notice the areas in ourselves where there are blockages, where we can feel ourselves forcing and attempting to control. And when we can notice those places in ourselves, we can address them or we can relax them. So let's practice together today and see what we may notice about flow in our practice. And really notice the shifts that occur in our being as we journey through the practice together. So I invite us to close our eyes. Take a deep breath. And as we let it out, to recognize that we are in love. That we are in love just like a drop of water is in the ocean. This is true in this moment. It was true in our previous moments. It will be true for all beings in all moments. Love is. So I invite you now just to drop your awareness down into your own experience and to simply notice whatever is happening for you now. To notice the sounds, the sights, the aromas. To notice any sensations in your body. Maybe even to notice a thought or two. And as you notice them, to simply name it, name the experience to yourself. This is a part of our practice, the first step back into our own presence. And I strongly encourage you to use this practice throughout your day so that you can know you're here now. This is what's happening now, not in the future or the past. And then always turning towards our body, returning to our body to ground us, to hold us. So beginning with giving awareness to our feet, we allow our feet to be filled with love. And our lower legs and our knees. Letting love flow into our upper legs, our hips, our pelvis. Letting love fill our belly. And to move through and bathe all the organs of the belly. Let love fill our chest. And our physical beating heart. Letting love flow into our shoulders, our upper arms, our lower arms, and our hands. And then noticing our tailbone, and allowing love to flow up through the spine, starting at the tailbone, and spreading from the spine to include all the muscles of the back, all the ribs, the scapula. Letting love flow on upwards into the neck, flowing through the scalp, and then coming to rest on the face. And then just noticing your physical being now filled with love. What's that feel like to you? Staying deeply grounded in this experience of the physical body in love. Begin to notice your inner world, your inner landscape. And to imagine your heart, your feeling center, place where all your emotions arise. Letting love flow into that part of you. And without judgment, just noticing what happens. Maybe noticing what you wish would happen, but not forcing anything. Just noticing what is happening. Now letting love fill your spirit. The spirit being our aliveness, energy within us, the flow. And as we give our whole spirit over to love. letting the spirit dwell in the whole body. It's not a single organ, lives in every cell. And then to notice your mind. And letting the mind be a cloud-like structure that floats around the top of your being, not just constrained to the cranium. Letting it be big and open. Let it be filled with love. And then notice what happens to the mind. We've now allowed love to flow into all parts of our being, body, heart, spirit, mind. We've experienced all those parts of our being. So now experiencing ourselves as a whole, all parts of our being filled with love. Not thinking about that in your mind, but feeling it in your being. What is it like? Staying deeply grounded in this, your presence in love. Extend your awareness out beyond your body, beyond your four walls, and become aware of everything that surrounds you. And then letting your awareness drift further and further away. That it includes your city, your state, your country. And now include the whole world. And allow love to fill the whole world. Trust. Just as you are in love, all things are in love. And you begin to feel yourself loving the world. Not just individuals, not just people you like. Loving the world. Now feel the way that gravity is drawing you into the earth, holding you here. feeling what it is like to be held in love. Seeing what it is like to be affected by this flow of gravity, this flow that holds us. And recognizing that we do not do the holding. We are being held so we can relax. Let any tension go out of your body. And let yourself be held in love. Now becoming aware of the flow in your own physical body, particularly the way air flows into the body and flows back out again. And spending a few rounds of breath just resting in that rhythm of receiving and letting go. And when you feel ready, allow yourself to let go completely into love. Letting go of any need to do anything at all, to follow any instruction, any need to follow any thought, and simply rest in love. It's possible that at this point in the practice, you are feeling the flow We call it love. It could have many names. You can feel this sense of flow in your being. And to be very aware that we did not create this. It was here. We're just recognizing it. The obstacles to recognizing it fell away. As you go about your days, always remembering this feeling of flow, remembering how it feels in your whole being, not what you think about it, how it works. And then noticing when you feel blocked, when you feel obstructed, and relax around the block, the obstruction. No force, no power, no control, just flow. Thank you so much for practicing with me and supporting my own practice. I love you all.